I'm struggling. I've been talking to some people like every now and then about just church. And there's a lot of times we come to church to see what's in it for me or what do I get out of it. And it's not just something that you go and do, guys. It's who we are. And I've been talking more and more to people about, like, what if Paul, you guys know who Paul is in the Bible, and Peter and John, what if they walked into our church? What would they think? These guys were willing to die for the gospel. They were willing to die for Jesus. Do you guys think that you're there with your faith? Or do you see this as a place that you could come, see some friends, and you leave? Like, I know there's some in here that's like that. That's cool. Community is a great thing. I could do a whole message on community, right? But why are we really here? And this is where I'm struggling. It breaks my heart because a lot of us in here are going through some heavy things. And usually it's the ones who look like they got it all together are the ones who don't. And I'm one of those ones that needs help sometimes. I don't have it all together. I carry a ton of stuff. I talk to students who are broken, talk to young adults who are broken. I talk to parents who are broken. And I go home, and I don't really get to see my kids at night because I'm here with you guys. And to come here because I love youth, I love the leaders, and there's times I just want to sit here and I want to worship because I just need the Lord in that moment. But when I hear giggling the entire time and people talking the entire time, it breaks my heart to think, what are we doing here? I'm embarrassed for myself that I could let it get to that point sometimes. Because there's people in here that are hurting and just need to know about Jesus. And when there's giggling and laughing and talking, when we're praising the King of Kings, the one who created you, the one who made a way so that you could go to heaven and not have to go to hell, and we want to disrespect him, that breaks my heart. And it should break yours. Because what if this is the one time someone's going to say yes to Jesus and we distracted them from hearing about him? I think of when I was in the military, I think I've shared this with you before. I had this friend of mine who saw me. I was really down. I was depressed, and I was walking around the base, and he looked me in the eye. It was the first time in my life someone looked me in the eye and said, "How are you doing?" And they actually meant it. They saw I couldn't hold it anymore. They saw that I was broken. You guys ever have someone like that in your life? They see you, they look in your eyes, and they know that there's more to it than just I'm fine or I'm good. And it means a lot. You remember those people. And he looked at me. I never forgot it. And he pushed me against the wall. He's like, you're not doing fine. You're not doing good. What's up, dude? And I opened up to him. And this guy poured into me, and he told me that I'm going to be a leader someday, and he sees this potential in me. I've never had anyone say that to me before. I've always got the opposite. You march to the beat of your own drum. You're a hoodlum. You make bad decisions. You're this, that. Anyone ever been called those things? You guys ever feel those things from people or from the authorities of your school? And even in here, right? Maybe I've talked to you and said, hey, you're distracted, man. You got to cut it. And I was not living the Christian life in the military. Not at all. I was chasing everything else. And some of you in this room, you're chasing other things. This is maybe you're forced to come here or not, but when I got out, he ended up being stationed kind of in San Diego. It wasn't far from where I was going to college, and I always wanted to thank him for pouring into me. Thank you for pouring in. Thank you. And I gave my life to the Lord in college, and I was so pumped. I was on a new spot of like life. It was really cool. And then I got a phone call that he passed away. And I never got the opportunity to, one, thank him or maybe even be a light in his life. I shared this with our young adults on Monday. I'm going to share it with you guys. It's time you can't get back. Right now, you guys are in a very unique and amazing season to come here with really no responsibilities in your life but to do your sports and homework. And you get to hear about Jesus. If I could go back, this is the time I would take serious. I wish I knew more about Jesus. I wish that I knew and understood how much he loved me and cared for me and that there is a hope in my life because right now, it's hard to find that out there. It's hard to find hope out there. I don't feel joyful. I don't feel happy. Without Christ, I could say that, huh? Because I have Christ, I can find my joy in him, but it is hard. And that's why some of us carry that stuff when we walk in here. Maybe we just want to be silly for attention, or we want to be silly because we don't know what it's like to be serious, or we've never had someone care about us enough to say, hey, enough. The reason why I'm saying that to you is because I care about you. Because there's no other answer. Popularity is not going to do it. Being the funny guy is not going to do it. I've tried all those things. It's not going to do it. Really, what you guys are searching for, and some of you don't even realize it is Jesus. The amount of praise you can get in this room from your friends or whatever it is isn't ever going to fulfill you. But Christ is. And he gave this amazing Sermon on the Mount, and we call it the Beatitudes. It's a series that we're in. It's blessing. It tells you how you're blessed. Blessed are you, blessed. You guys ever want to feel blessed in your life or to see God's hand in your life? You guys ever feel like he doesn't see you and you're like, where are you? I need you in my life. Everyone's abandoned me. Everyone's left me. I need to feel blessed. I see everyone else. God, you're working in everyone else's life. I see that person's on fire for you. That's cool. I can never be there. You guys ever be like that? And you want to see Christ work in your life? He gave you this playbook right here to tell you how to be blessed, which means be joyful. He's given this to you. He's given you the answers right here. Where else are you going to find them? TikTok? Finding your new dance move that I keep photobombing or video bombing all those things in like random places. It's so embarrassing because I got no rhythm. I'm like a baby deer who was just born. My knees wobble and I slip and I fall. It's really embarrassing. My wife, pray for her because I try to show off in the kitchen with my dance moves. It's terrible. But the answers aren't in TikTok. The answers aren't on Instagram. The answers aren't in your friends. The answers aren't in all those things. Aren't some of you tired of not getting the answer or the hope, or just tired? I want to be blessed. I want to know what God has for me. I want to know how I can find joy and peace and happiness. I want to know those things. And for some reason, we could go to this right here. You know what I do when I'm stressed? I go to this. Anyone else like that? Just being transparent with you. No, you're a pastor. You go to the Bible and you read the King James Version. You have tea with your family. No. This is what I do. This is what I do when I'm stressed right here. I'll find some random video or, you know what I feel like afterwards? More stressed. Like I got nothing accomplished and I can't rest. Guys, this has been here for us this whole time. Pour into this, guys. Pour into this. You won't get this time back. Now's the time. We're in such a generation that's looking for hope and looking for answers. People are literally mutilating their bodies to find identity. They're looking for an answer, and it's not fulfilling them. They want to change their identity to try to find identity. Did you guys know you have the answer? So what do you want to do with that? These are some crazy times we're living in, isn't it? And I'm like, man, it'd be cool if John the Baptist came back right now and I could watch him do his work and everyone would listen to him. That would be cool. Maybe C.S. Lewis would be here and he'd write a cool book on all the weirdness that we see in this world today. But I'll tell you what, no one else is coming. God chose you at this time in 2023 to be here, to be a light in this world. The next person to come is Jesus Christ. But for right now, he has chosen you to be in this generation, to be a light, not a distraction, not to put a basket over that light so no one could see that light that shines in you, the answer that people are looking for. So when you go into school, you blend in, but really we're called to stand out because we have the answers. Check this out, Matthew 5. In Matthew 5, we're continuing the Sermon on the Mount. He's going to give us 3 more things, and this has to do with your heart, which is the things that is hurting right now. My heart has been hurting lately. I'm not talking about broken from just ministry and other things. I'm talking about physically. My heart's been hurting. And I need Christ in my life to help fulfill things. I need him to heal me, and I don't want to be distracted. I don't want to lose sight on why we're here. Why did God create us? It's to praise him, to worship him, and to tell others about him. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 6, Jesus is giving this Sermon on the Mount. It's probably one of the most powerful and most popular sermons of all time. He's teaching to his 12 disciples, but there was a great crowd that got to overhear it and witness this. But in this, in Matthew 5, we're continuing the next 3, verse 6, it says, God blesses those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be satisfied. Verse 7, God blesses those who are merciful, for they will be shown mercy. God blesses those whose hearts are pure, for they will see God. God blesses those, in verse 6, who hunger and thirst for justice. What this is actually, in other translations, is righteousness. Does anyone have that in their Bibles? Righteousness? Yeah. Do you guys know what that means? You guys know what that means? To be right with God? Okay. You guys ever hear the Christianese words? Like sanctification, justification, righteousness. You hear these words and you just kind of nod your head because you're like, yeah, I know that one. And you're like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about. Yeah, just smile. You guys get those? Righteousness is one of those. We can hear that and we're like, yeah, totally. Oh my gosh, that was such a good point. Write that down, put that on my Instagram later. Yeah, righteousness, love it. Search for that, hunger for that, and put it with your toast and your coffee. Hunger for righteousness. And we got no idea what that means. Hunger and thirst for righteousness. What do you guys hunger and thirst for? Like I said, some of it could be food. It could be literally, it could be food. You're hungry for food. That sounds great. Some of you, it could be popularity. We talked about that earlier. It could be wanting to fit in. You can hunger and thirst to have a crowd follow you. You can hunger and thirst for being loved. You can hunger and thirst for being desired. You can hunger and thirst for many, many things. But this is what he says, blessed is those. And so what I want to throw up here is what the world says about this thing. When Jesus came, he totally flipped the world upside down. The world thought one way, even the religious people thought one way. And Jesus flipped it upside down on everyone and it blew the game away. Can you go to the next slide? This is what the world says. Pursue your own needs. Don't worry about getting right. You do you. Go on. You got this. And Hercules, he would say, I could go my way. I could go the distance. That's what this is. For some of you who weren't even born yet, maybe your parents weren't even born for that one. I'm so sorry I put you through that. The world says pursue your own needs. You guys hear that? Hey, you do you. You got this. You live your life. But what the word says is pursue the need for God. If you want to see God's hand in your life and feel his blessing on your life, it says you hunger and thirst to be made right with God. For some of you in here, maybe it's clicking that there is a God. You know that there's a creator. You look outside and you're like, okay, I get it. There's a creator. Awesome. Step one, you acknowledge that there's something greater than you. His name's God. And he's a creator of all things. He created man and woman. If he wanted any other way, he would have done so. And you recognize there's a God. Now, if I recognize there's a God, that means that there has to be an eternity, an eternal being. So when I die, there's a heaven, there's a hell. Okay, there's both of those. Hold on. Well, how do I get to one or the other? Well, I'm a good person. I like to think I don't have to make myself too right with him or with others because I'm good. I'm good enough. Then we have to line up everyone and talk about everyone's definitions of good, and we'd all have a whole mixture bag of what good is. But there's one definition of good, and that's God, and it's perfection. And when I realize that I'm not good enough to get to heaven, on my own works, I cannot get to heaven. I am hungry and I'm thirsty to be made right with God because I know without him, I am nothing. And when I know that there is a need for God in my life, guess what? I will be satisfied because he will fulfill that need, that hole in your heart that you're trying to fill with other things. He will fill that. So if you're looking for answers and you realize that God is there, and some of you might be thinking, I'm not good enough for God. I have to be made right with him. You can be made right through Jesus Christ. It is not too late to turn to God. There is nothing that you've done that he cannot forgive right now at this moment. The enemy would love it if you were to think, listen, it's too late. I can't get right with him. I've done too much bad things. No, the enemy would love for you to think that. You can be made right with God right here, right now. Salvation is instant. Thief on the cross. Today you will be with me in paradise. It's not something you have to work for to earn. There's nothing you could do to earn salvation. It's a free gift through Jesus Christ. If you're seeking to get right with God, say yes to Jesus Christ and you will be satisfied. This next one, verse 7, God blesses those who are merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Now, if you guys watch a certain show on a certain red channel with the letter N on it, and they say no mercy. That's how they live. No mercy. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy, sir. Sorry, I had to say it. Had to. It was in there. But this is what the world says. The world says you're strong, don't feel anything, don't show mercy. They messed up with you, they stabbed you in the back, they abandoned you, they weren't there, forget about it. You're too good for that, you're too strong for that, you got it all together, you're good. Don't show them that they got to you. Be strong, keep that chin up. Throw some dirt on it. Don't let them know that they hurt you. Come on, you're strong. You don't have to feel that. Push those emotions down, keep going. But what the word says is show mercy and compassion to those in need. That is one of the hardest ones, I think, for me. How many people have wronged you? How many people have hurt you? It could be your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your aunt, your uncle, your friends, your siblings. You could think, man, they've hurt me bad. If it were that easy to do this, everyone would be doing it. In fact, if doing right was easy, you wouldn't grow weary. But it's tiring. The things that Christ has called us to is not easy. It's almost impossible. But with God, all things are possible. With Christ in your life, and when you let him be this light that people can see, you can have him do it through you. To show mercy to others. Why would I need to show mercy to others? Do you know what they did to me, Matt? Do you know what they said to me? Do you know what they texted me? Here, I'll show you. What would God say about the text messages I've sent him? The things I've said about him? The times I've yelled at him? The times I have stabbed him in the back? The times I've said bad things about him, the times that I've done wrong in his sight, the times I knew that if I did this, he's not going to like it, and I still did it. Do you think God's list of things that I've done wrong would be short for me? What makes me any better than other people? Words carry a lot of weight, don't they, when people say stuff to you? It hurts, and you can remember that thing. It can be hard to forgive that person, show mercy to them. Man. What did Christ say on the cross when he was getting beat and spat on, a crown of thorns on his head? He was getting whipped. They would take flesh off of him with that whip. And he said something to them. He said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they've done. Each and every day, we're shown grace and mercy by God. Grace, well, grace is not just a prayer, like saying grace over your food. There's grace and there's mercy. Can you picture someone begging for mercy? Please have mercy, please. And I'm not talking about Shawn Mendes. So, baby, please have mercy. No, I'm not talking about that. Mercy. What do you guys think of when you hear mercy? Nothing. You guys can think of mercy? Oh, do we not show it? Is that why? It's been a while? It's been a while. Oh, sorry, guys. I don't know what the heck's going on. Yeah. A second chance. Okay. What do you guys think? If I went to court and I was found guilty of a crime that I did commit, I'm being put away for a long time, and I dropped to my knees, I'm like, please show mercy, show mercy. What is it? It's not getting something that I do deserve. I deserve to go to jail. With God, you know what I deserve? I deserve to die because I'm a sinner. I deserve to die, but he shows me mercy by waking me up this morning. He gives me mercy. And grace is getting something that you don't deserve. That's just on top of mercy. So not only does he show us mercy by letting us live as human beings because we messed up in the Garden of Eden. If he really didn't love us, he would have wiped us out way back then. But he showed us mercy even back then in the Garden of Eden when Adam and Eve sinned. He still gave them a chance. And he still does to you. He woke you up this morning in grace. He gave you grace. It's a gift through his son, Jesus Christ, so you can be made right with God. He gives you both of those. And even though I'm a sinner, even though I mess up, Christ shows mercy to me every day. And I need to work on and learn how to show that to others. Why? So that they can see Christ living in me. That's a hard thing to do, isn't it? Show others mercy because you have been shown mercy. You have been shown compassion. When Christ looks at you, he looks at you with compassion like sheep without a shepherd, and he sees you and he loves you, and he cares about you. And this last one in verse 8 for today, it says, God, blessed is those. So blessed is the one whose hearts are pure, for they will see God. That's a hard one right there, isn't it? A pure heart. If I were to go around and we get to like 2024 and they got some weird AI thing where I could just point at you and like go like this on the screen, and your heart, what's displayed in your mind and your heart goes on that screen. Oh, some of you are like, no, please don't. Yeah, I made it a little real, huh? You're like, I'm great, I'm at church. And I'm like, hey, let's see your heart on the screen. No! I pray every day, all my friends are Christians. I don't know anyone who's not a Christian. I read my Bible every day. John 3:16. Oh, let's check your heart on there. You're like, no! But if we were to display your heart on here, what would we all see? What are the things that you're putting in your life and you're putting in your heart, you're putting in your mind? Blessed those who are pure at heart. How many of us are pure at heart? We've never sinned. Our thoughts and intentions are pure. Look at no hands. Well, none of your all hands have been up this whole time for any of these, so we're all guilty. Shows you right there. Pure hearts, whew. But it says, what's the reward? For they will see God. What does this one say? Let's see what the world says. The world says deception is acceptable. You want to get to the next level, it's okay to deceive. It's okay to lie. It's okay to cheat. It's okay to do those things as long as you don't get caught. It's okay not to let people know your real feelings. It's okay to not let people in. It's okay to get the upper hand with people. It's okay to be deceptive. It's okay. You got my back. You're helping your friend out when you do this. It's okay. But the word says be vulnerable and transparent to the Lord. Whew. You know, that's what I actually love about David. King David in the Bible, when you look at all of his prayers, when you go back and read his prayers, go in Psalms, you see all of his prayers. He is vulnerable. He is transparent. He lays his heart before the Lord, and he says a prayer that I would be so scared to pray. He says this, Lord, if I've done anything wrong, if I haven't repaid back the people I'm supposed to, if I haven't done anything wrong, turn me over to my enemies. What he's saying is if I've done wrong, you could kill me. Now, how many of us could pray that? I saw some of you go, you got to raise your hand, dude? Yeah, no, you should do it. Okay. That's how intentional he was with the Lord. That's how transparent he was with the Lord, that he can pray those things. And when David messed up, he messed up quite a bit, but when he had an affair with his friend's wife, and then he murdered his best friend, this is one of my favorite prayers that he does have besides Psalm 13. He says something in Psalm 51, and he says, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation. He says, take not your Holy Spirit from me. Listen, when the Holy Spirit's in you right now as a believer, it stays with you. But back then, the Holy Spirit would come and go. But what David prayed right there, he said, create in me a clean heart. You want a pure heart? Fill it with Christ, and he will make it pure. And you know what your reward is? You get to see God when you die. When you take your last breath, all of us in here have the same thing in common. We're all going to die someday unless Christ comes back. But if you want to see God and not feel fear, and you want him to wrap his arms around you and say, welcome home, have a pure heart. And the way to do that is by filling it with Christ. You ask him for forgiveness. You ask him to come into your heart and make it new. That's why he died on a cross, so we can be made right with him. So we can live with hope. We can live with joy, because that's what Christ is. He gives you joy. He gives you love. He gives you hope. And it's all because he came, he died on a cross, he rose again. And through him, we can be made right with God. And as we go into small groups, I want you guys to think about, why are we here? Who is it that we're praising? Who is it that we're worshiping? Who are we giving our attention to? And which one of these three do we need to work on, and do we want God to work on in our lives? Lord, thank you for this evening. Thank you for giving us this day to be here. Thank you for these students and these leaders. Continue to work in and through us as we go into small groups, Lord. Just give us wisdom. We love you and praise you in your name. Amen.